songs on Vibrate, all that good stuff. Let's see, consent agenda, everything should be good.
Everybody ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll call to order on the Rolesville Town Board regular meeting for March 7, 2023. I'd like to welcome everyone. Looks like we got a good attendance tonight, so appreciate everybody coming out. We usually start with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, so we do have Boy Scout Troop 141 here tonight. Welcome. Thank you guys for coming out. If you would, I'm going to ask you to come up. Stand right up here and y'all can lead us in the pledge. Thank you. Just line up right up here. Who's the leader? All right. It's all you then.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, boys. Appreciate y'all coming out tonight. Thank you much. Okay, now we'll do an invocation. I got Pastor Tyler Williams here from the Village Church. You want to come up and lead us, if you would?
Mike, or can I just talk now?
Okay, that'd be good.
Let's pray. Good and gracious God, we give you thanks for your unfailing love for all people. We give you thanks for the gift of community, neighborhood, that we were not made to journey through life alone. Be with and bless the leaders of the town, commissioners, all Rolesville residents, that together we might create a space that is a place of belonging, a place of justice, a place of love. We ask all this in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Okay. Thank you, Tyler. Appreciate you coming out tonight. Thanks so much. Okay, I do have a proclamation, and I'll read this. I think it's important. Proclamation of Town of Rolesville, Mayor and Board of Commissioners, Developmental Disability Awareness Month 2023, and it reads as, whereas a developmental disability is a diverse group of chronic conditions that are due to mental or physical impairments that arise before adulthood, and whereas the condition is likely to continue indefinitely and limits the individual in three or more of the following areas: self-care, receptive and expressive language, learning, mobility, self-direction, capacity for independent living, and economic efficiency. And whereas the condition creates individuals' need for a combination of special, interdisciplinary services and individual personal-centered supports and other forms of long-term assistance that the individual plan and coordinate. And whereas the disability experience is a natural part of life and is valued as part of our rich diversity, and whereas disability is a social construct, the problem is not medical condition that resides within an individual, but a problem is that society does not create welcoming, supporting, and inclusive environments, policies, and other systems for all to promote equality and acceptance in all the areas of life, including schools, places of employment, and our communities. And whereas the most effective way to increase awareness is through everyone's openness to learn and the knowledge that there are systematic barriers that reduce the likelihood of those with disabilities enjoying equitable experiences and living independent, productive lives within our communities. And whereas policies must be developed, attitudes shaped, equality experiences are offered in all individuals, including those with developmental disabilities. And whereas citizens do all their power to recognize the value of disability experience in our lives and the value role that it has in our rich diversity. Recognize the barriers presented to those with disabilities across all aspects of their lives. Create ways to include everyone, especially those with developmental disabilities, to fully include in all aspects of life. Understanding the losses, financial, spiritual, human rights, contributions to community, and otherwise when our communities segregate and create barriers for those with disabilities. demand policymakers to no longer invest in segregation and create inclusive, equitable policies and systems for all. Now, therefore, I, Ronnie Kern, Mayor of the Town of Rolesville, do hereby proclaim March 2023 as Development of Disabilities Awareness Month and galvanize all efforts that will lead our communities and policymakers to create a real system of changes so people with developmental disabilities will enjoy equitable and inclusive lives. And this is the 7th day of March. So yeah, I think we have a lot to learn about that, and we'll continue to try to enrich our policies and things that we do around town. I know, Paul, we've talked about some disabilities things in playgrounds and stuff, and I think there's a lot of areas that we can kind of work on that and do even better. But just want to recognize that as being a proclamation. This is Disability Awareness Month. Also, this is Women's History Month, and I just want to recognize, all the women over a long time to get where they are. You can tell this board here, that women are now in leadership and able to participate in our society in a very equitable way, and we recognize that during History Month. Thursday night on my mayor's show, we're going to probably try to highlight all the women-owned businesses in Rolesville, and there's quite a few. If you don't know, it is quite a few of them. So those are the two things we kind of recognize in this month as we move forward. So thank you, appreciate that. Now we will review the agenda and ask if there are any additions or deletions or anything we want to change on the agenda that we have for you tonight. And if not, I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion to approve and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any. We got the consent agenda before you tonight. It's the minutes from the February 7th meeting, the Waive Alcohol Code 13-3 restrictions, and also the TA 2202, MA 2209, and Annex 2208 for Jones Dairy Storage. And that's a continuation of a hearing that we have to advertise again. So I'll entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, got a motion second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. We'll move now on to the board liaison reports. So Commissioner Paul Vega, Parks and Recreation, anything you want to report on tonight?
So they had a meeting on the 22nd. They had officers that were elected. I reviewed a greenway and bike lane requirement on a proposed Averitt Road and Jones Dairy development that's upcoming. Reviewed park banners they're looking to put into the parks to update what we had before. Talked about the CIP. There's 23 projects we're looking at right now, or 33 projects we're looking at. I want to kind of narrow that down into what they'd like to accomplish first and suggest. Garrett Sony has left, and right now JG is covering for him as athletic coordinator. And wanted to make sure everybody was aware, Arbor Day in Rolesville will be March 18th. We're having an event at Shelter D in Main Street Park. So if you have a chance, come out and stop. It starts at 11 o'clock. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate that. Commissioner Sutton, Economic Development, anything to report?
Just a couple of things. Is my mic on? Yes. Our economic team is here tonight, so I don't have a whole lot to report on, so just a couple things. One, I just want to mention to the board that our economic development strategic plan is becoming a little dated. I think the last time it was updated, I want to say it was 2018, and I believe that the consultants recommended that we do it every 5 years, so time is here. So I just want to remind everybody about that. Also wanted to highlight, I drove over, did some drive-arounds this week, Carlton Point Townhomes now has 18 frames that are now erected over by the ABC store. So that has finally gone up. We approved that 4 years ago. It's finally happening. And I also went around in Wake Forest to their downtown. I went to Franklin Street and Holding Village. And I want to, again, encourage this board to get out and do some field trips, because we get to see these developments on paper, but seeing them in person gives us a whole different vantage point, and it gives us a different view as an entity, as a body going out. So I think we're going to be going on some field trips, and I'm excited. One final update I wanted to provide is on Cobblestone, the development at Main and Young, on their lease update. Actually, if you've driven by there, you've seen that they're starting to go upright. Yay. They are making some good leasing progress, and they're confident that they're going to be fully leased by the time the project is complete, which I think is going to be sometime next year, late next year. They're working with a large regional restaurant group to see if if the previous lot for the municipal building where it was going to be will work for their concept. Some of the other concepts that they're working on, Mescalito Mexican, which is a restaurant. One just recently opened in Durham. It looks like a modern kind of upscale Mexican restaurant. They also have letters of intent or interest from other restaurants, including, well, they don't say the names, but a few other restaurants. And then they have multiple medical users that are interested, kind of our medical professionals, maybe dental as well. A nail shop, a hair salon and spa, yay, and a regional coffee group is also interested. So I'm going to stop there because, like I said, our economic development team is here from our chamber as well as our economic development manager. So you're going to hear more on economic development tonight. So thank you very much.
Very good. Good report. Thank you much.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Medley, Planning Board, anything to report?
Excuse me. So, good evening, everyone. So, at our planning board meeting, there were two topics that I thought were pretty interesting that's going to come back to the board. One is relative to cluster development, because we have a lot of questions about that, about lot sizes, setbacks. That was all discussed in good detail with the planning board. So I look forward to that coming back to us for further discussion. And there was also discussion on notification distance for people who are within a certain amount of feet of a development. Last we spoke as a board, we had recommended 300. The planning board has actually recommended 500, but there will be more discussion about that to come as well. So pretty much it was a short meeting, a lot of details in the meeting. That was it for planning until our next meeting at the end of this month. And in regards to affordable housing, we're meeting tomorrow to discuss more about the saga of affordable housing. So hopefully we'll get some answers that we were looking for in our previous meeting. And that's really it for our planning board.
Thank you. Commissioner Austin, Veterans?
Yes, sir. On February 22nd at 10:45, I had the pleasure of meeting with a board member from the North Carolina Heroes Fund. Their mission is to improve North Carolina's military personnel and their families' quality of life. For over 15 years, they have assisted hundreds of veterans and their families across North Carolina facing short-time financial hardship as a direct result of their military service. Our meeting was to discuss how they can be assistance to the veterans here in Rolesville. And then a reminder that Memorial Day is coming in about 2 months. I want to inform you all about the Memorial Mile. The town of Rolesville wants to remember the people who served and gave the ultimate sacrifice by walking along the Greenway on Trail Alpha in the Main Street Park on Memorial Day. There is no cost to request a sign for a loved one that has served, but you do need to go to the website and fill out the form by April 30th. Also, there will be a T-shirt that you can purchase as well for $25, and that need to be ordered prior to April 30th as well. More information and the links can be found on the town's website as well as the Rolesville News Blast. I've also been in contact with the Department of Veteran Affairs, and they have informed me that this month is Multiple Sclerosis Centers of Excellence Awareness Month. Their goals are to encourage veterans with MS and their caregivers and family members of veterans with MS to raise awareness. Making a connection can help people expand their knowledge and understanding of MS, improving support of individuals whose lives are affected by the disease. The National MS Society works hand in hand with this center to ensure excellence and that all veterans receive care and the proper resources for them and their family. And I can say that I have used them actually myself, because this is going on my 15th year dealing with MS, and the doctors are very surprised that I'm beating the odds daily. And that will conclude my report, sir.
Thank you. Great job. Appreciate that. Thank you for the personal touch there. Okay. Commissioner Sneed, public safety.
Public safety, we had a brief meeting on February 13th, and it was very brief, and they just let us know that they are almost fully staffed. They have 28 volunteers and 13 paid staff, and they are still seeking volunteers, so if you know anyone that's interested, please have them contact the fire department. They're more than happy to speak with them and let them know what it looks like to be a volunteer and the steps they need to take. And also, on the 21st, our next meeting, we are going to have an update on the unification that's happening with the fire department. So a lot of information will come at our next meeting on the 21st.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for your hard work. It's a lot to do there. We've got a lot of ways to go if we're going to do it next year. So
Yeah.
thanks for your hard work. Okay, communications from town staff. We first got Meredith, planning. You got something for us?
Yes. All right. Good evening, everyone. Every Monday morning at 10 o'clock, we have a planning department staff meeting. It's our weekly meeting, and a couple Mondays ago, we were talking about how in planning, everyone wants to know timing of things. I mean, that's might be life in general, but it's a focus in planning. And I joked, I love picking up my crystal ball or gazing ball and using that to look into the future and figure out what we need to do today to be successful in the future. So my mom and dad were in Venice a couple weeks ago, and my dad posted this picture on Instagram, and I emailed him. I was like, Dad, send me this picture. This is perfect. I was just talking about crystal balls. I know this is more of a gazing ball, but I think it totally works as a crystal ball. So this is my planning crystal ball that we're going to look into and talk about the planning items to be scheduled. So the theme of tonight's update is taken from your 3-month agenda. You know, I think it uses the word future on the document at the top, like what's happening in the next 3 months. So at the end of that document, there's a list that says items to be scheduled by the planning director. So on that list are actually 6 things. I'm going to briefly touch on 7 things. We had a new application I can throw into the mix to let you know what will be coming in the near future. So I will need to turn on the pointer. So if we can see the number 1 star, that is Tom's Creek. Number 2 is Arden Senior Living. Number 3 is Averett and Jones Dairy Mixed Use, and we'll have separate slides for each of these. I just want to help you get oriented to where you are. Number 4 is 1216 Rolesville Road. Number 5 is a new application. It's the Woodleaf property assemblage. Number 6 is Hills at Harris Creek on Mitchell Mill Road. And number 7 is Universal or Harris Creek Farms. So we'll take a quick look at each one of those and let you know what's coming up. So number 1, Tom's Creek. Get a lot of questions about that one. So where we are right now, the applicant is working on revisions to their rezoning concept plan, and we expect to have a revised rezoning concept plan in the next 2 weeks. So this is the last one that you've seen, so something new will be coming from the applicant. And I think they're hoping to go to Planning Board in March or April, but we'll see how their updated concept plan looks and what type of analysis of that is needed. Number 2 is Arden Senior Living, otherwise known as 4724 Burlington Mills Road. And that has been through 2 rounds of review by our technical review committee. And I know the applicant is in discussion right now with NCDOT to talk about potentially moving the entrance to the project from this location on the left side of the image to the newly realigned Burlington Mills Road. Number 3 we looked at, this is off of, or at the intersection of Jones Dairy and Averett Road. This is a fairly new application. It's only been through 1 round of review with our technical review committee. And this applicant or project will get their comments within the next day or so. So more to come on that. And then item 4, 1216 Rolesville Road. This is in that Avery Young and Rolesville Road corridor, right across from Sunset Manor Drive. This has been through it's on its 3rd round of review right now, and the applicant has changed their request from asking for just neighborhood center zoning to neighborhood center conditional zoning district, so they can do more with conditions in that. And they're interested in both commercial and townhomes there. And then a new application we've just received is for the Woodleaf assemblage, and this is in that Rolesville Road corridor as well, on the eastern side of the road, getting closer to Mitchell Mill Road. And this is for single-family and townhomes. And this, I think it was just distributed to our technical review committee for review. The 6th item, Hills at Harris Creek, and north is pointing right on this one. So this is on Mitchell Mill Road, between the Gropeg Lane and Manley Farm. And this application came in, the original application came in over a year ago. And the applicant has recently revised the application to change their request. They're asking for neighborhood center zoning, and now they'd like to ask for neighborhood center conditional zoning district and residential high conditional zoning district. Since they've really changed their application, we've assigned it a new case number, and it's starting over with review. So this one will take a little while to get to planning board and to you all. And then the last item, Harris Creek Farms, the last item in that list of things to be scheduled. Harris Creek Farms is another rezoning request, of course, and this applicant is asking for residential medium and residential high, both conditional zoning districts. And the green portion is the single-family portion, and the watermelon portion is the townhome portion. And this one has been through about 3 rounds of review. And I think out of the ones we've looked at, I think this has a chance of coming to planning board and you all sooner than some of the other ones. So as I mentioned before, as we gaze into the planning crystal ball or gazing ball, we will see these items coming to you in the near future. Any questions about those?
Seems like I remember seeing one on your website had to do with a new commercial building with 2 restaurants in it.
Let's see. I'm not 100% sure if that one has been, I believe we did get a submittal for that. So that's on 6,000 Rogers Road. So that is not a rezoning request. That will be a site development plan. And our planning staff actually has a meeting with that applicant on Friday to talk through the process on what they need to do. They'll have to do a site development plan and construction infrastructure drawing before they can get their building permits, because I think they're pretty excited about getting building permits and getting going.
Okay.
So that zoning is already in place on that site.
So with the zoning in place, it just makes it for a simpler
Yes.
process.
We hope so, yes.
Thank you for your update, Meredith. I have a question. Of the 7 that you just shared, how many of those have a commercial component? I think I heard you say something on one of them, but I'm not sure.
Out of these, number 1, Tom's Creek does not. Number 2, multifamily, so no. Number 3 has a commercial component. Number 4, 1216 Rolesville Road had a commercial component. Number 5 was residential only. Number 6, Hills at Harris Creek does have a commercial component. They're, something, they're trying to figure that out, the exact square footage, but with the neighborhood center zoning request, they do have to have some non-residential development incorporated. And then number 7 is straight residential.
So 3 of the 7, is
Yes.
that what I heard?
No, 4, wasn't it? Didn't you s-
Oh, did I 4?
Was it
I
3
think
or
I
4?
counted 4.
Let's see, it was
4.
I have
3, 4,
Michael says 4.
6. Mike says, okay,
That's 4.
all right.
3, 4, and 6?
My counting's not working right now.
I only heard 3.
Me too.
Yeah, go pick out the 4, if you would, because I think it's,
Okay, so 1 is Tom's Creek, it does not. 2 is Arden, no. 3 has a commercial component. 4 has a commercial component, and 5 does not. 6 is a yes, 7 is a no. So that was 3.
So that's 3? Thank you, Meredith. Just one other thing I wanted to mention, and I shared this with you earlier. I know that we changed the way that we do our engineering. We used to have developers bring in their engineers. We have our own engineers on staff, or ones that we contract with, in order to share like the TIA and do our
Yes.
TIAs for us. And sometimes folks will come up that have worked with developers, and it's easy to get confused. So I asked you about that and told you that I was confused on one of the cases we had before. So I did ask that going forward, when we have those cases, if you could just share that this person is on
Be very
staff with
clear on that,
Rolesville,
yes.
just to be very clear, not only for my understanding, but definitely for the public. And if I can have just a moment, I want to offer an apology to Matt Peach. Matt, last time I kind of raked Matt over the coals, I was thinking Matt worked for the developers. Still, that's no way to treat anyone. But anyway, I was a little confused. I was thinking he represented the developer. So I offer my apology publicly. My mom and dad always taught me, apologize where you showed out. So I apologize to you, Matt. And I called him personally as well. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll hand it over to Mr. McFarland.
okay. Come up, Michael.
Good evening, everyone.
Hey.
Hello. A few items tonight. I had previously mentioned Wake County's site identification program, the goal of which is to find the best industrial site in each of the 12 municipalities in Wake County. And the county hired Crystal Morphus. She's the CEO of Creative Economic Development Consulting, who was also on the team that did the commercial growth feasibility study for us with O'Brien Atkins last year. And she came out for a site visit last month to look at some of the available land in Rolesville and within our ETJ. Ms. Morphus will be assessing potential development areas and present her findings to the board at the April 18th work session, so we can look forward to that. Ultimately, the project deliverable will be a written report with a recommendation for a priority site most suitable and desirable for industrial development. So I think this is just a nice follow-up activity for the town after the commercial feasibility study to kind of narrow our focus to a priority site. If you recall, with our commercial growth feasibility study, we looked at about 20 parcels of land, about 1,100 acres. So this will really narrow it down, and we'll get a recommendation from her on 1 or 2 key sites. And again, just, I think this work will lend itself to the update of our comprehensive plan. And it's important, for the town to identify potential land to attract commercial development, where new jobs can be created, and just to increase the town's commercial tax base. So I think it's important work going forward. So more to come, and as I said, she'll be here on April 18th to present her findings. So, and wanted to talk a little bit about how we're doing with our mural project. So in collaboration with the United Arts Council of Raleigh and Wake County, a committee consisting of some members of the Downtown Development Association, a member of the Park and Rec Advisory Board, Commissioner Vilga, and myself have been meeting over the past few months to work on a mural project in town. And the committee has been discussing the types of murals and themes, something colorful and inspiring that would fit Rolesville's culture and would really build upon the town's brand identity of a genuine community with a capital connection. And so the committee, like I said, has been meeting for a few months now. They kind of were in favor of installing multiple small-scale murals throughout town with a common theme rather than one big mural at one location. So we're moving in that direction. We recently posted a request for qualifications to seek qualified artists who will work with this committee on determining those final locations and pick a design. And so this week and next, the committee is interviewing a group of finalists, and we hope to bring a recommendation for an artist to the board in 2 weeks on March 21st. So stay tuned for that. This project is a partnership with United Arts Council of Raleigh and Wake County through the United Arts Wake Murals Program. And Wake County pitches in $5,000, and the town provides a local $5,000 match. And for this project, kind of cool thing that happened to us, Ting Internet Fiber has also agreed to pitch in an additional $5,000 to make this a $15,000 project rather than a typical $10,000 project.
Very nice.
So we're excited about that moving forward, and we'll have more to share in 2 weeks. And
Before you move from murals, I'd just like a big shout out to Mr. Edens and his place up there. I don't know if you've seen it, Michael, but he's done quite a few murals up there and really improved the looks of it. Was that, you gonna cover that, or?
Oh, no, that was.
Was that recently?
Yeah, yeah, it's in the last few months,
Thank you.
When?
in the last few months.
I haven't seen, I must have missed it.
Where are they?
They're on these buildings.
Oh, is it?
On the side of the building?
Yeah, some of them is between the windows. He got quite a few up there. Looks pretty neat.
Yeah, he was part of the initial discussion, and then he had decided to kind of do something on his own.
Get on his
so-
own.
Yeah, so those look nice up there. Next week, I will be traveling to Statesville to attend the annual statewide North Carolina Main Street Conference hosted by the Department of Commerce. The theme this year is Trek on Down to Main Street. As Parks and Rec have been saying this year, 2023 is the year of the trail in North Carolina. And this year's Main Street Conference will celebrate towns and cities that are creating walkable, bikeable downtown districts that connect businesses, neighborhoods, and trail systems to encourage residents and visitors to trek on down to Main Street. So I just hope to come away with some ideas to share with the Downtown Development Association as well. And just as our Main Street project is getting underway, kind of learn more about how we can create in Rolesville a true downtown destination. So, and that wraps up my update, and I'm here for questions. And I do also have something else to share. I think last year I shared our top 50 taxpayers in Rolesville for 2021, and 2022s have come out. So I wanted to hand these out as well.
Who's tops?
I feel like my name should be on there.
Yep. So
Thank you.
here for any questions.
Storage Max is still at the top. Was Storage Max the top last year as
Yep.
well? What is
questions?
Redford Place LLC? Is that the new building?
That's the Food Line Shopping Center.
Okay, gotcha. I was like, the new building's already? Never mind. No, I don't have any
The
questions.
new building might be down on there somewhere. I
Right.
forget what, yeah.
For the new building, the Redford Place building is what I'm affectionately calling it. Are they going to have like a grand opening anytime soon, do you know?
Not that I've heard of. We talked to them about a groundbreaking last year when they were getting started, but it never came to fruition. So there might be some sort of ribbon cutting that,
Yeah,
or if they
okay.
become a chamber member, that's something the chamber works
Gotcha.
with businesses on.
Do you know when it's going to open? I remember them saying a projected date, I just don't remember
I
it.
think in another couple months, maybe this summer.
Okay,
So,
May,
yeah.
maybe May. Okay. Thanks, Michael.
Great
Anything
briefing, sir.
Thank you, Michael.
All right.
Appreciate that. Next, I think I saw Terry Simmons back there out in the hallway somewhere. Come on in, Terry. Rolesville Chamber of Commerce.
Hey, Terry.
Thank you.
Welcome, Terry.
Hey, how are you guys doing this evening?
Hi, welcome.
Good evening.
Thanks for taking time out for your big tax
Yes,
season.
I appreciate that. Sorry, I'm running a little behind here. I do have handouts if it's easier for you guys, but it's up on the screen as well. Anybody like a handout?
I would like a handout, please.
We'll take one since you printed it
Yeah,
out.
just give them, we'll pass them around.
Okay. Okay, so, again, good evening, everyone. And my name is Terry Simmons, and I'm here on behalf of the Rolesville Chamber of Commerce to give you guys an update about the things that we've been doing. I just want to start off first by saying that everybody knows that Rachel Morris has moved on. But the good thing is she's definitely left us in good hands. She kind of developed a succession plan for herself. And that worked out great for us. And like I said, we are very confident that we'll be able to do amazing things as we move forward with and transitioning without Rachel. We're actually in the process now. We have Barbara Timmons. She is right now the interim point of contact for the chamber. And we will be meeting tomorrow to look over some resumes for some people that we're looking to bring in, not necessarily to hire them at this point, but just someone to bring in to help with the shortfall of some of the back things that Rachel was doing. So we're looking to get that filled as soon as possible. And then we'll take a look at the immediate needs that we need as far as exactly what we need for the chamber to move forward without having Rachel there. Like I said, we're not looking to replace Rachel, but we are looking to fill the position. So by bringing someone else in there to kind of help Barbara, we feel like that'll give us a better opportunity to take a look at exactly what we need, and then we'll be able to actually look to hire somebody for the executive position. So with that being said, let's see. I'm just going to go over to the third page here and talk about the statistics. From the last time that we met, our total membership now is 173, so we are definitely growing. Our retention rate has been 86.62%, which is a little bit down from what we had the last time, but we're still strong. And for our membership, we have a total of 21 members. Again, that's a little bit down. Last time we had 27 new members, but again, we're continuing to increase our membership. And our social media presence went up 18%, so that's really doing well, meaning that we're really connecting well with the social media fans via social, Facebook, Instagram. I don't think we're doing TikTok yet, but again, we're definitely reaching that population, which a lot of people are using the social media. So we're excited about that, and we're going to continue to move forward with that. The fourth page here, we just have a list of all the new chamber members. Let's see. I think Rachel had talked at one point how we are increasing our diversity in this area, because that's important. Like I said, we want to be an all-inclusive chamber. So again, we're very excited about these numbers here. Like I said, it's a little bit down as far as new membership overall, but the diversity here has increased substantially. So we're going to continue to do that as, like I said, we become an all-inclusive chamber. Let's see. On probably the fifth page here, I just want to kind of highlight some of the key things that we're doing. We're continuing to do our ribbon cuttings, our business after hours collaboration, and I wanted to point out the fact about the collaboration. The last business hours we had, or one of the last ones we had partnered with Wake Forest Chamber, and that's huge for us. Again, given the history between Wake Forest and Rolesville, that was a huge step for us. And so we're looking to do more collaborations with other local chambers like Wendell and other surrounding communities, because for us, we feel like to be able to network with them, that also gives us more opportunities for our members to be able to, work with other chambers as well, and other, and grow their business that way. So that was a great opportunity, and we're looking to continue to collaborate with other chambers in the area. Again, the farmers market outreach. We're continuing to do the what's happening in Rolesville with the mayor. We're, as a board, again, without Rachel being there, we're actually now a working board, and so we are actually going to be revolving and taking turns. And so you'll see various board members taking their turn and helping out in that role. So we're excited about that. We continue to do the welcome wagon, the Launch Rolesville, and then, like I said, we're going to continue to increase our community engagement. One of the things that we had added, we had a back-to-school event last year up in the Wake Forest area. We're looking to bring that back here to Rolesville and continue to do that as one of our outreach programs. So we're excited about that. The next page we have are our upcoming events. Tomorrow, we have the Women's Leadership Brunch, which we're really excited about. As you can see, we are sold out. So that committee did an excellent job putting that together. That's one of our newer events that Rachel had been working on and was able to put that into action. So we're excited about that, and that is actually tomorrow. The annual dinner and awards banquet is April 27th, and that'll be up at the Renaissance Center as it was last year. We're kind of doing a 1950s Greece kind of theme. I'm not sure we're going to be dressed up yet. I know I'm going to be dressed up, but again, that's the theme for this event. So we're looking forward to that. We should be getting some information as far as the pricing and tickets and things like that. The next one, Ask Now 5K Dash, that's hosted by Thornton Rose Foundation. That's on May 13th here in Rolesville. The Military Appreciation Luncheon on the 23rd, I believe that's going to be May 18th, and that's going to be at Arise. And the Juneteenth event, we're going to be partnering with the town of Rolesville to make that happen. I'll be meeting with someone, Christy, at Parks. I think she was with the Parks and Rec. So I'll be meeting with her next week to kind of get some ideas and how we're going to move forward with that event. We haven't determined a date yet. We don't necessarily have to have it on the 19th, but we're looking to see what would be a good day so we can get a good draw for that event. The Business Expo is June 29th. We're still going to be hosting that at the Rolesville Baptist Church. We're still going to have that there. This year, the golf tournament is on September 28th. The Bands of Barbecue is October 27th. We did have a location, but unfortunately that didn't come through, so we're still kind of looking around, but we still are on target to still have that for October 27th. Okay. And that is all I have. So, any questions?
For tomorrow's sold-out luncheon, do we need a ticket, or is there a list?
There's a list. I have a registration
Okay.
table, so yeah.
So we should be good. Okay. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, it should be nice.
Yeah, it looks like you got some really good speakers and guest speakers.
Yeah, we do. Actually, I don't know the ladies. I think I only know like one of them, Annette. And I have to get up and say just a couple words. And I said I wanted to speak early because I may have to leave. It's tax season, so I might have to leave. So, but yeah.
These are nice pictures.
Huh?
Were these professionally done?
They were.
Yeah,
They were.
they look really good.
Except mine. I didn't like mine, and so.
Well, they look really good, though, even in
So,
black and white. They
Yes,
look
but
great.
yeah, actually, one of our chamber members did that. I think Brittany Photography, she did them. So yeah, I think she'll be at the event tomorrow.
They
Awesome.
the same ones that did Lawrence Rosal pictures? Not Lawrence, yeah, Ross. Or leadership, maybe it's a leadership group that has the
I know she
pictures.
was at our Christmas party. She did some, and like I said, we engaged her to do the headshots for the chamber. So yeah, got some.
The
got some
headshot
good people.
sessions. Those were really good, by the way. Those are good.
Good job. Y'all do a good job. We're gonna miss Rachel for sure. I know I will miss her because, she was co-hosting, and it was always easy when you had Rachel because she had something to say all the time. But we're gonna miss her, but, the chamber has a good foundation, and, you guys are gonna do really good. If there's any way we can help you at all, just let us know.
Again, we've become a working board now, so wherever everybody's stepping it up, and I'm really excited about that. So yeah, we'll be fine.
Especially during tax season, right?
Yes.
For those that may not know, Terry's a CPA, so she's in the crux of it.
She's waiting for the 16th. Thank you, Terry.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate you coming out. Thank you very much. All right. Next item we have is for the public comments section. See if anybody signed up. I will, as a reminder, we do have one legislative hearing scheduled tonight, which is concerning 503 South Main Street. So if you're here to speak on that, this wouldn't be the time that you want to do that. You can save that for later. But that will be the only thing that we will have a hearing on tonight. So if there's anybody else here to speak on something, be sure to step up. So I have one here, Cynthia Daniel Williams. How you doing tonight?
Wonderful, thank you. How are you?
Doing good. Come up. I see you're a Rolesville person, so come up
I
and
am.
state your name and address and for the record, and good to see you tonight.
Thank you.
I see you
And
have
welcome,
your,
Delta.
what's that, 1913 on you?
Yeah, yes. Good evening, Mayor Ronnie Curran, Mayor Pro Tem Paul Viga, Councilors Alston, Medley, Sneed, and Sutton, and other Roseville Town officials. Good evening. My name is Cynthia Daniel Williams. I am a Roseville resident since 2006. I have lived in North Carolina for 55 years. I'm 55. And I am also a proud member of Knightdale Wake Forest Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I greet you on behalf of our chapter president, Tiffany C. Myers, Esquire, as well as our other 224 members of our local chapter. Thank you for this opportunity to talk to you about some of our chapter's accomplishments in our service area, which includes Knightdale, Wake Forest, Zebulon, Wendell, Jonesville, Youngsville, Northeast Raleigh, and my current hometown, Rolesville. In honor of our Sisterhood Month, our chapter has adopted Northeast Wake Backpack Buddies program here in Rolesville for the month of March. We will collect and fill the pantry for the benefit of our students. We are slated this year to give out $15,000 in scholarships to deserving students in our service area for this Again Sorority Year. Recently, Knightdale Wake Forest Alumni Chapter was honored to host the North Carolina Statewide Founders Day 2023 weekend celebration, February 3rd through the 4th, of which I was the chair. We hosted 1,500 North Carolina members of our illustrious sorority and 45 vendors. This was a significant financial boost to our area income. Greetings were extended from our mayors, Jessica Day, Knightdale, by letter and in person, Vivian Jones, Wake Forest Mayor, by letter, Glenn York, Zebulon Mayor, by video and by letter, Virginia Gray, Wendell, by letter, Mary Ann Baldwin, Raleigh, by letter. Mayor Curran, we missed your greetings, but we wanted you to know we remain committed to the town of Rolesville. We collected and donated $13,328, which was split between two nonprofit organizations, the Haven House and the Families Together. That was formidable, a substantial contribution. And we look forward to one day hosting an event such as this, of this magnitude in this small town to boost our economic growth. It's important for us to continue to excel in our service area under the auspices of our 5-point programmatic thrusts: economic development, educational development, international awareness and involvement, physical and mental health, and political awareness and involvement under the umbrella of social action. If you scan the room, you'll see some red. You can see this is some of my sorority sisters. We publicly offer you our unrelenting, uncompromising, unapologetic commitment to the positive growth and development for the town of Rolesville. And we thank you for allowing us to have this opportunity to reintroduce ourselves and to remind you that we are still here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out. You guys do you have a contact cards or anything you could
I
give?
do. I'll make sure that you get that.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Great
And
job.
Cynthia, thank you so much. Since you all do the mental health as a part of one of your components, I know Terry would love to hear from you on the Thorn to Rose Foundation. I did the walk run last year, and it was great.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming out. That's the only one signed up. Did anybody else want to make a public comment? All right. We do have some old business of consideration tonight. First item is consideration of MA 22-03 Parker Ridge. I see Meredith is coming up on that one. So we have, I think we've done a public hearing, a couple public hearings on this one. So I would say keep kind of a brief update, Meredith. And if you need to bring that up, that's fine. But it's all yours.
Great. Thank you very much. Good evening again, Mayor and Commissioners. For your consideration this evening is the Parker Ridge rezoning case, MA 2203, and the companion annexation petition, Annex 2206. This legislative hearing, or the legislative hearing opened in November 2022. It was continued to February 7th, where it was closed, and the decision was continued to today, March 7th. I had to show this slide one more time because I like it. The Parker Ridge site is in a great location, surrounded by park, new commercial development, and the future town campus site. So again, this rezoning request is for 88.5 acres located at 82 School Street, 120 School Street, and 201 Redford Place Drive. The request is to change the zoning from residential low and residential and planned unit development to residential medium and residential high, both conditional zoning districts. There is an associated concept plan with single-family and townhome sections. On the left side, there are 114 townhome lots at a density of nearly 4 units per acre. And on the right side are 162 single-family lots at a density of 2.8 units per acre. There are a series of proposed conditions that the applicant will go through. I will just note there are 2 new conditions added since a month ago. Number 12 is including a public greenway stub to School Street, and number 13 is about the developer designing and constructing Access D, which is a road from the Parker Ridge development to Young Street. The planning board did recommend approval of this case, and their expectation was that concerns on traffic on School Street would be addressed, and I believe we have covered that by removing that connection and with plans to remove that road as a collector on our community transportation plan. In addition, staff does recommend approval of this request based on its consistency with our future land use map, community transportation plan, and greenway plan. And I know the applicant does have a presentation this evening, and that team will go over their updated conditions. Any questions for staff before they jump in? Great.
I do have a question real quick, Meredith. If you can go back one screen, no, maybe another one. Board, no, I'm sorry, you went too far. Come back. One more. One more. I'll tell you when to stop. Wait, are you going back to the beginning, or are you going towards the end?
Oh, I was going back towards the beginning.
No, it was only a couple of screens towards the end.
Okay. So conditions,
It's the part where staff recommends, okay.
staff recommends approval? Yes.
Okay, so when you say stuff like somewhat consistent and reasonably consistent,
You want me to explain that a little more?
please do.
Okay. With the future land use designation, it is high-density residential, and high-density residential is a density of 6 to 12 units per acre. So the density proposed for this project is less than what our future land use plan calls for. The housing types are consistent, but the density is not. That's where the somewhat comes from. And then I like the word reasonably consistent with the community transportation plan, reasonably, because as I noted, right now our community transportation plan lists School Street as a collector street, and our plan is to remove that. So as the community transportation plan is shown right now, you could say it's not quite consistent, but based on our plans to amend that, it is consistent. So I wanted to
Yeah.
Make
I
that
think
clear.
it was a choice of the board not to make that connection, right?
Right.
Yeah, I remember that.
So I'll say it's consistent, then you can scratch the reasonably.
Okay, because I was just wondering, why would you say somewhat consistent?
That's based on the density.
Gotcha. All right, thank you.
It's less than what's,
Yes.
The LDO requires.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
how you doing?
Good evening.
Yeah, if you would just limit to, the change.
Absolutely. Good evening, Mayor Kern, members of the Board of Commissioners. I'm Collier Marsh with Parker Poe on behalf of the applicant, and we'll just cut to the chase because we have had a number of hearings on this proposal. And at the last meeting, we came out with a couple of assignments. So I think we have shown that we've worked hard to address all of the main staff comments, but a couple of things that the Board of Commissioners asked us to do. Get rid of that connection to School Street, commit to building Access D, which is the connection out to Young Street, and then hold another meeting with the neighborhood to give them an update on the project. And we did those three things. And so this concept plan actually has been tweaked since the last version, the version that was shown by Meredith. So we submitted within the town's deadlines, but there's now a cul-de-sac near School Street instead of no street at all. But that does not connect. So just want to make sure that's clear that this is updated, but one minor modification since then. But getting to those changes again, so we met with the neighborhood last week, just right on the other side of that wall, had a productive discussion. Folks even expressed support to us and appreciated the efforts we've gone through to address the concerns that have came up in this process. And then one of the things that came up at the last meeting, folks specifically talked about what's going to happen with blasting in the area and how does that work. And so we did have some research done by our construction folks and gave an update on how that process will work and actually how notification is going to be provided to folks within certain ranges, inspections and surveying of their homes so that there's a pre-blasting and post-blasting survey to ensure that they're adequately protected. Ultimately, we think that's extra and there wouldn't be concerns, but we go above and beyond to make sure it's safe, and those folks were pleased to hear it. But getting to this physical requests that were made to us with the plans, we have removed the connection to School Street. That was the one remaining thing from the Planning Commission, and then we have added a connection to Young Street. And so that condition essentially says, we as the developer, we are going to design and we're going to build this connection. We're going to build it to the town standards. It's a 60-foot right-of-way with sidewalks on both sides. That's part of what we would construct. We'll also construct the turn lane on Young Street into the neighborhood, or into the extension that we're building. So all of the recommendations of the TIA for that access point, we are going to design, we are going to construct. And it will be located within the corridor shown on this exhibit. So we've told you the street standard, we've told you where it's going to go, and it'll allow for some coordination with the town at a later stage to make sure that it syncs up with your plans. And then as far as payment for that road, so we are committing to fund it fully. We'd be asking for credit towards our transportation fees. One item I wanted to clarify is at the last hearing, when the Board of Commissioners asked what would this cost, I think I quoted in the range of $500,000. Well, it turns out that that was a great underestimate of the cost. And so we had our consultants with Kimley Horn do formal estimates of these costs. And so obviously it's before design, but they gave us estimates. And at this point, we estimate that connection actually to be in the neighborhood of $1.4 to $1.5 million. So a major contribution to the town and major benefit. So with that, we believe we presented a plan that is consistent with the town's comprehensive plan. Future land use map, the knock is that it's not dense enough, but I think as we all agree, what we're proposing here, this density is actually a better fit. Staff recommends approval. Planning Board was unanimous. And here I think the board can rest assured that this is a project that isn't just giving the developer what it wants. There are substantial benefits, substantial public benefits to this project. Keep in mind the street connection, but beyond the street connection, dedicating an acre and a half to the town for future park space, over, I think, 1.5 miles of greenway trails, and then donating a home, building and constructing, and then giving a home to a veteran for future residents. So again, major public benefits that go well beyond the traditional development. And the last thing I wanted to do, just because I haven't given them an opportunity to speak, is just have Charlie Oakley with Lennar to say a few remarks on the project.
Evening, everybody. Charlie Oakley, Lennar Homes, Land Entitlement Manager. I just wanted to come up tonight and say thank you for working with us through this process. We're really excited to be a part of Rolesville with Parker Ridge. We believe this neighborhood is going to be an asset to Rolesville. It's going to be almost a destination given what's here. So we just ask for your support, and we appreciate your time and all the time that you and staff have put into this application.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Before you sit down, any questions for the attorney?
I do have a question. The question that I sent you in an email, if you can point that out to me, I think I would be a happy camper.
Sure. So the question being the connection
Yes.
to the townhomes. So
Have you made any bigger?
if there's a way to make it bigger, I do not know. I
Is there,
think
Robin?
if I can go maybe to Meredith's, if it keeps taking me back. So the question is the access to this pod of homes in this section right here, correct? So there's one access point provided. Now, the reason being that a second access point, we can't get a second crossing over this wetland, so the environmental permitting wouldn't require it. So we're limited to one, but this is not an unusual circumstance, and it complies with the code, and I'm sure staff can chime in, but this is not unlike any cul-de-sac in other neighborhoods and other sections, and I think this condition exists throughout Rolesville and throughout communities. When you have constraints like crossing wetlands, you limit those impacts, and so that's why we have one crossing. For the units that directly front Redford Place, there are alternative crossings or connections, private drive connection here, then the main Redford Place public street here, and then private drive here. So this is not an unusual situation.
So just to be clear, though, the exit down towards the bottom, that's closer towards the villages?
Correct.
Where you're coming through the entryway?
Yeah, so this is the villages of Rolesville here, and then heading the other direction takes you out this way out to Main Street, towards the top of the
You can come in
screen.
and turn left or right? Can
So-
you turn left or right coming out of the bottom portion of this here map?
So that you do the traffic circle, so you go right around the traffic circle.
No. When you're coming out,
Good point.
I'm a little short here. So you're coming out right here, right? So the villages are right about here, right? This
Yeah,
would be the village.
you could go both directions in that location,
Right,
correct?
So this, a car coming out this way can go left or turn, oh wait, I'm sorry. Can go left or right, correct?
Correct.
I guess I'm not as happy as I thought it would be, but okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for the attorney?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just gonna, sorry to flip through these real quick. Just wanted to make sure you all had the slide in front of you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions for staff?
No questions for Matt? I can't hardly believe,
I think we've questioned Matt enough.
Yeah.
he doesn't look disappointed, but,
We gotta have one in there. No.
all right, I think the staff is asking for a motion, probably.
I motion to approve the rezoning request for MA 22-03 Parker Ridge.
I'll second.
Okay. So we got a motion and a second on the table.
For the rezoning.
Is there any discussion? And I'll allow Commissioner Sutton to go first if you have any
No, I'm
discussion.
good. I've asked.
Any discussion from
No further
anybody on the
discussion,
board?
sir.
None.
I'm just still concerned about coming in and out of that road. Because if the people out of the villages are going straight down Redford Place, and now you're coming out of this side road right at the entrance to Redford Place, how is that not dangerous? Because you're crossing over, because as it stands now, it's left, right, and there's a center lane. I just don't see how that's not dangerous, coming out of the villages.
Is that a question for Matt
Wait,
Peach?
He's coming up.
We had to get you
But
up here,
I will
Matt.
say that I do like the development, but I'm just concerned about that road.
So let me find exactly where you're talking about, just so we're all clear. You're talking about the driveways close to the roundabout. Is that correct? Which
But
one
the
in
one on the
particular?
lower end,
The one on the lower end. This one right here.
where are you? Oh,
Closer to the village.
right there. So have you been out there?
I certainly have, yeah.
Okay, so right now, it's just straight through, you have the empty fields on either side. But there's no yield sign, there's no stop sign, so when someone's coming out, I'm not saying that road is continuously packed with traffic.
Right.
At all.
Right.
But I'm just saying, it just seems a little odd to have that road so close to the entryway to the villages.
Wouldn't there be a stop sign, though? 'Cause
I don't know, that's what I'm asking.
I would think there'd
I
be a
don't see-
normal stop sign there,
I don't
though.
see anything up there indicating it would be a stop or a yield or anything.
If it were a public street, there would be a stop sign there. However, since it's a driveway, I don't believe there would be a stop sign there.
Oh, it's a driveway.
Since it's a low-volume driveway, I don't believe there'd be a stop sign there. I think what, and the applicant might want to weigh in here.
Just put a
Go
stop
ahead.
sign there.
Be clear, that's actually an alley. So you have an alley running behind those lots, the townhomes that front on Redford Place, so you get that urban streetscape. I would suspect we would put a stop sign on our side if it was permitted by the town to slow down, but just so there is some stop control there. But those won't be your primary movements. Your primary movement is Redford Place. Those are just alley connections, so when you back out of your house, you got somewhere to go.
Right, and I understand that, and even if it's just one car, a stop sign or a yield sign or something, and where would that sign go exactly?
It would go on our side of the alley. So you come out, stop sign, look left, right, make sure you don't have traffic.
I just want to point again. So you're saying it would go over here?
Yes, ma'am,
Yep, right corner.
on that side.
Because you realize that there's a wall here, right, on both sides.
Right.
So I don't know how close that road would be to the wall, but there is a wall there, so if some car is coming out and they don't see traffic going this way, coming into the villages is not so bad, but a car coming out and you can't see that blind spot, there needs to be something here to let people know that somebody may be coming out to go the back way out of the villages, if that makes sense.
And I think that's, if I may, Mayor, I think that's a really fair question. This is not gone, there's been some TRC review. But if there's a site distance concern, which is what you're bringing up, we would have to address that with the applicant and make it right prior to development.
And would a stop sign help? Is that what you're saying?
It would, but who would the stop sign go for? The person coming out of the back alleyway? Have a good night and thank you for coming. Would it go for those coming out of the back alleyway? Or would it go
That's what
for
they're
those
suggesting.
coming from the villages on Redford Place?
No, just,
Oh.
it would be on the private side of the alley.
Right.
Yep.
Those entering Redford.
It's a private road, just
Just
for
like a driveway.
yeah, private driveway.
Right, so I'm just wondering, because that wall is there.
I'm no engineer, but I think the likelihood is going to be the people in the front townhomes, and I think they said this before, using those private driveway, and then the rest of those people are probably going to come out that middle section. And if you're going to Food Line, you're going to take that roundabout and go that way versus going right and come around the roundabout.
But that's if you're going to Food Line. But so many people in that neighborhood
Right,
go
but
the
I'm
back
saying,
way.
I'm talking about the back portion, the top.
Right, I know, you're referring to these here houses here, right?
Right, but I'm saying the back portion, I would think, would take that middle part and use the roundabout to go right or left.
This here one, this here.
No, the
portion.
back portion,
What do you
the
mean?
purple,
Over
the
here.
purple homes back, no, other
Other
side.
side.
Right.
Right, but even if it's just one car.
Can we pull this to vote, please? I don't want to do this all night. I mean,
And I don't want you to
seriously.
shut me down because I'm asking a question.
No,
And
we've
that's a
gone over
genu-
this over and
That's
again,
a genuine concern that I had in regards, whoever lives in the villages knows what I'm referring to. And there is an issue of that wall, so don't be rude and cut me off. There is an issue with that wall, with sight being a problem. So even if it's one car that happens to come out and turn right, that is still a concern for me.
It's fine.
They are agreeing to do the stop sign.
Right, and that's
look at
fine, but I
that.
was-
So I think that will help. too.
Right, and I'm just saying, because something else was said that, when you said something, I looked at it again, but I'm still saying, it's not polite to say, oh, I don't want to go through this again, because that's a genuine concern. You don't live in that neighborhood, I do live in that
I
neighborhood.
have lived in that neighborhood. so
Right,
let's
but
go
you're
to
not
vote.
now, but I'm just saying, don't cut me off because I'm addressing something, and like they said, they're going to address it in their site plan, that's
Let's move
fine,
forward.
but that was my concern.
All right, thank you, Michelle.
Yep.
Appreciate that. In fairness, all commissioners get the same amount of time. So we'll start again. Anything you want to?
I think I'm good now.
You good?
I'm good.
No further
Good.
question.
Anybody down that way want to?
No
I'm
question.
good.
Everybody good? All right. All right, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
As long as it's going to be addressed, I'm good. I said aye.
You did say aye?
Yes, I
didn't hear you.
did.
Okay, cool. All right, so I think it was unanimous, Madam Clerk, if I understand it correctly. So thank you. Thank you, board. Appreciate that. All right, thanks. Thanks for coming out.
Do we need to do
Yeah,
parts
we
2
also
and
have
3?
other motions.
Yeah, we need to do
The consistency, I motion to adopt the plan consistency statement and statement of reasonableness for MA 22-03.
okay, we got a
Second.
motion. Second. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any, and then do the third.
The last one, motion to approve the annexation petition received under GS 160A-31 for ANX 22-06 Parker Ridge. Is that the right number?
Yes, it is. Second.
Okay.
Okay, got a motion and a second. You get that, Madam Clerk? Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, that was the last one. Thank you, appreciate
was
it.
the last.
Thanks, everybody. The next item is legislative hearing, MA 2207 for 503 South Main Street. I believe I'm going to open this one back up, so I will, who's on staff representing this one? Okay, I'm going to open up and we'll take another statement from staff.
Mike is doing this one. I think he thought the budget amendment was before this one, so
Okay.
that's probably why he has not appeared yet.
All right, let's back up and do the budget amendment then. That's no problem. Is Amy doing that? I see Amy. All right, budget amendment for FY 2022-2023. So it's all yours, Amy.
Yes, good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. This is a brief item, so I have no visuals for you tonight. This should go pretty quickly. You have before you for your consideration a budget ordinance amendment for the current fiscal year. There are 3 items on that budget amendment. One of those relates to some wind damage that occurred at Redford Place Park. We did put in an insurance claim for that, received proceeds of that minus the deductible, but we would need to appropriate the revenue and the offsetting expenditure in order to make whole the budget for the extra work that was done to make those repairs that was not planned. Second item has to do with the police off-duty program. A little over a year ago, we brought the administration of that program in-house and run that through our payroll process. It has been a very popular program. I believe well-liked by administration as well as officers. It works out well for us on payroll as well. So again, we just need to have the offsetting revenue and expenditures increased to reflect the increased usage of that program. So again, here the expected revenues are fully offset by that additional expenditure. The third item has to do with an item that was in your general fund budget to do a traffic corridor study for the Averett Road, Young Street, and Rolesville Road corridor. $65,000 was put in the budget for that for this current year. Planning Department went through the required procurement process and put out an RFQ, selected a qualified engineer to assist them with that project. After reviewing the scope of that project, it appears that the total cost for that is estimated to be about $85,000. And so the Planning Department is requesting an additional $20,000 appropriation in order to complete that study according to the components that they would like to have.
Can I ask real quick, do you know the timing of that study? Or Meredith, if you know? What's the projected timeline on that?
Sure. Once we can get started, which would be contract completion, hopefully within days if this goes through, 3 to 4 months.
Okay, cool, thank you.
And that's it. So it's just those 3 items. The total impact of those is, I think it was $67,985, most of which is fully offset by anticipated revenues.
Very good. Any questions for Amy? on these three items?
I make a motion.
Yeah.
I motion to approve the ordinance to amend the 2022-2023 fiscal year budget ordinance dated today, March 7th, 2023.
All right, we've got a motion, a second.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion?
No, just,
Not hearing any. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Approves unanimous. Thanks, Amy.
Thanks, Amy.
All right. I see Michael back, so we're going to pick back up on legislative hearing MA 2207. Michael, I did open the public hearing, so this is for 503 South Main Street.
Yes.
Ready for
Thank you
your
very much.
staff.
Thank you for the introduction, Mayor, members of the board. So this is a rezoning for 503 South Main Street. This was brought to you several months ago as a general zoning district request. At that time, the applicant withdrew it so that they could go back a little bit to the drawing board, make a conditional zoning district request out of this. So this is coming forth to you as a general commercial conditional zoning district request for this property that at the moment is currently zoned a mix of the residential low from the LDO and the older R and PUD zoning district, which dates the Unified Development Ordinance. So this review, though, is being reviewed under the Land Development Ordinance because the general commercial district is a district described in that ordinance. Quick vicinity map located on the south or east side of South Main Street here, literally across the street from Town Hall. A little more zoomed in, it is on the corner of Wall Creek Drive and South Main Street, currently vacant property. That building there, of course, was raised a few months ago. So this is an idea of the existing zoning on the property. This lighter paler yellow is the remnant of that R and PUD zoning from the UDO, and then a little bit of that RL zoning from the Land Development Ordinance. The stripes around that is that general commercial zoning, which is what this applicant is seeking to go to on this property right here, to give you a context. And so the future land use map identifies all these areas along Main Street for commercial uses. So that is the red, that is the prominent color you see in this snippet here of this area. Again, that orangey yellow color there, that is the Wall Creek neighborhood there. The Main Street Vision Plan has several principles and goals that would be fulfilled with this commercial rezoning request. Quality development, redevelopment, establishing a town center, and respecting small town feel. So this zoning would again match what is predominantly occurring along the Main Street corridor and is both fulfilled by the comprehensive plan's future land use plan. Regarding transportation and traffic, at the time of this rezoning, again, there's a condition now, but there is no development proposed. So the traffic impact analysis step is postponed until the site development review, if it is triggered at that point in time. And because, of course, the LAP project has just finally kicked off, this is an excerpt from the LAP project. There are not many improvements in those plans along this property's frontage, which is crudely drawn here in this red line, but some of the curb areas will be replaced, and of course medians placed in the center of Main Street in front of this property as shown here. The general commercial district, of course, has all development standards for mostly non-residential types of uses, building height maximums, setbacks, et cetera. And when the property should go through site development plan, it will be reviewed for buffer yards, landscaping, screening, height compliance of any buildings, parking minimums and maximums, et cetera. So here's a slide showing the condition that is now being brought forth as part of this application. It is a simple condition to prohibit a certain list of uses from all of those that the Land Development Ordinance would otherwise permit in the general commercial zoning district. And I think this slide here, which is the handout that you were given prior, same image here. In one picture, this is telling us with this rezoning, with the prohibited uses on the bottom, this is how uses would be governed here. The top permitted, happens to be 22, would be permitted uses. The middle group in purple there, that would be uses that would require achievement of a special use permit. And of course, now the Board of Adjustment is that body who holds those quasi-judicial hearings and considers special use permits, not the town board. But so a small number of special use permit uses would be permitted. And then there are now 18 that would be prohibited on this property.
I would love a miniature golf. It wouldn't fit, but that'd be cool.
Where's the bar at?
no, prohibited.
right here, bars and nightclubs.
Prohibited.
Oh, okay.
But I have a question about industrial. What is artisanal manufacturing?
Artisanal manufacturing, one example would be someone who makes pots.
Oh,
If they were
Pottery.
manufacturing pots or something like that, they had a small little area there, that would be the type
Something
of
like a pottery
artisanal.
shop or something?
Yes, any type of artistry type of manufacturing. Think of things like pots, maybe not glass, but things
the
of that
word
nature. Jewelry.
manufacturing on Main Street scares me.
Yes, I understand.
Okay.
I understand. Artisanal gives it a qualitative and a quantitative aspect to that. It was a very small scale.
So wait, now, Ronnie said, I'm sorry, the mayor said, I'm trying to get used to that to everybody, pottery. You said pottery, right?
As
That
one
includes
example.
pottery as well?
I would think that someone who is making pottery in a very small scale
Yes.
would fit in artisanal
Fit in that
manufacturing
little building.
type of use. Yes.
Because these are going to be like little storefronts, if I recall, the way it's laid out in this.
Well, again, with this request, there is no development being proposed. But given what we do know about a site development plan that's been submitted,
You got one on the website, right?
yes, sir, yes. It would look like these are going to be suites for lease, et cetera. So again, the development that the applicant has shown is not lending itself to anything large to a true manufacturing.
But I go back to industrial. What is flex industrial? And fulfillment center, is that like an Amazon center?
Right. Think of larger tilt wall, open space buildings. That's what those would be. But again,
I
those would
don't see
require
that-
special use permits.
Yeah, I don't see that being feasible
I do not.
on like a main street. And the reason I said that, I drove down Atlantic Boulevard today and I forgot, the UPS and the air conditioning place have now, they're putting a light up because there's so many trucks coming in and out off Atlantic, right? So when I think of that, I think of things like that. And do you want that pouring into your main street?
Correct.
So why is it even allowed by permitted use?
They are in the LDO.
Mm-hmm.
And recall, this is for any property that should be zone general commercial, 100-acre tract or this 1.2-acre tract. So some of these uses are frankly impossible to develop on such a small piece of property due to their nature. A golf course.
So you're saying it wouldn't even be feasible to do it,
I do not
even
believe
though
in
it's
my
there?
experience, no.
I hear ya. But there's things that we haven't seen. I could see someone coming with the miniature golf that goes up versus out, which would kind of be fun. But anyway, I just want us to be cognizant of that for Main Street.
Yes, yes. And again, those in the middle there would require a special use permit
permit.
be applied for, reviewed by the Technical Review Committee first, and then go to the Board of Adjustment for a hearing.
Gotcha.
So they're not by right uses.
Thank you.
Okay.
This application, as a conditional zoning district, was presented to the planning board in January. They had a unanimous recommendation of approval. At that meeting, the applicant brought forth these two additional items to be added to their prohibited use. As submitted and went into that packet, they were not in there. So bar, nightclub, and tattoo establishments were added as part of that, at that meeting, and then revised conditions. So those are clearly in the condition list there. And so again, the planning board had a recommendation of approval. Staff's overall recommendation is that, general commercial is the predominant and an appropriate zoning district along Main Street. It achieves many of the Main Street vision goals and objectives, and staff is of support of this conditional map amendment request. And on screen are the motions that you could undertake this evening. And again, if you'd like me to go back to that use list, I can put that on screen, but you do all have a copy there in front of you. So
Thank you for this. I appreciate it.
you're very welcome.
And the big writing. I can see, my contacts are strong, so up close it gets blurry. I just want to clarify.
11 by 17 is way bigger than letters.
This is perfect, thank you.
The applicants are here if you should have any questions for them. They do not have a formal presentation prepared, though.
Okay. That's, I think, is any questions for Michael at all or anything?
No, sir, but I do have a comment. Is there anyone from the public?
Yeah, I will call for public hearing if you have a question for Michael. No questions at all? And we'll give the applicant first. Do the applicant has any comments you want to make? Anything you want to add?
Really don't have much to add. As Michael mentioned, we came before you guys before, and there were some concerns, and we went through the process again and met with our neighbors, and were some specific items that they had concerns about, and we feel like we addressed the majority of those by adding the, specifically bars and nightclubs and breweries and distilleries, I think got the lion's share of the comments from our neighbors. But we think we have a good project that will help change the face of South Main Street, and we appreciate your consideration.
Thank you. Any questions?
What's your timeline on your project?
Well, we're hoping interest rates will come down a little bit, but we're thinking at this point there's still a lot of design work to do because we're still, in the zoning process. So we're hoping we can get rolling maybe late this year, early next year.
Gotcha. Okay. Thanks.
Remind me of the acreage again.
I'm sorry.
What is the acreage on that again?
Acreage.
1.8 acres. So pretty small. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm not
Thank
sure
you,
if
Mr.
I'd
Mayor.
wait for the interest rates to come down. I think I heard today they're going
Yeah.
up, so
They're gonna go up.
you snooze, you may lose more. Okay, any other comments? If not, I will see if there's anyone in the public that wants to speak in favor of this applicant. Anybody in the public want to speak in opposition of this applicant? Come on, Ms. Hood. Just state your name and address for the record, if you don't mind.
My name is Linda Hood. My address is 105 Wall Creek Drive. I just actually have a question regarding traffic. And I also want to say to thank you to the company, the developer. They did have a neighborhood meeting, and we were able to give our input, and I appreciate them, Toy Storage, actually taking our input. But as we expressed at the neighborhood meeting, we have a concern because getting in and out of Wall Creek now is already a nightmare. At 3:30 in the afternoon, as far as you can see, traffic is coming through town. Well, the way that this is to be addressed with entrances, we'll be coming into Wall Creek and going out, the same way. Is there anything that can be done as far as traffic control? Because like I said, if you're trying to get out or turn left or whatever, I don't know if that's the town that does that or if it's the developer, but I'm just asking to consider that.
I'm thinking Wall Creek is supposed to have another way out where they have a traffic light. I think that's already been approved, right?
That's with
Through
Walbrook. Through Walbrook, they should be developing
Yeah.
another exit plan for you. So
There's a
you said you were about 1 year out?
That's correct, yes, sir.
Yeah, so with the construction of the roads that's going with Walbrook, you guys should have an exit out probably before they even get started.
Okay.
And it's supposed to come, you have to, it's opposite the end from your house, though. You have to go all the way through, to the end of Walbrook now. Not Walbrook, but Wall Creek, and then come out through Walbrook. And there'll be a traffic light up there, if I understand.
So where they're preparing to put the Publix, is that where you're talking
Yeah.
about?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yeah.
so lovely. We're going to have Publix entrance coming in on one end and, okay, that was
But
all I wanted.
I think y'all will still have y'all's exit, but it won't be a traffic light there. If, you'll still go out there if the traffic's light, but if it's heavy traffic, you want a traffic light, you have to go to the traffic light.
Shopping center,
Yeah. I think, if I recall, that's the way it is, right?
yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Hood.
Will that be considered in the future if that traffic gets too bad? A traffic light there at the end where we go out now?
Isn't that controlled by DOT?
It is, and I don't know, being that you got one down there at the other one, I don't know if they would do that or not.
And it has to go through DOT. They have to warrant it. You can say, hey, here's the money. We raised the money to pay for it, and they still will say no because they have to deem it worthy to have a light. We fought for this at Jonesville Road for years before I got on the board. That's why I got on the board. There was no light. And they're like, you're getting a bypass whenever you're getting a bypass, so you don't need a light.
Yeah.
Still fighting for the high
So some
school.
of it's out of our hands when it comes to that because it's DOT
Yeah.
approval.
Yeah.
Thank you. And the other question was, you mentioned a median in front of the building that's coming in. Will there be a median in front of Wall Creek so we can't turn left?
There should be.
I don't know about that.
Side.
You talking about on Main Street?
Yeah. I'm sorry. You got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know, Main Street, yeah. I have to see what the Main Street plan is.
Well, thank you. And again, thank you to the masses for being so receptive to our input.
Thank you. I think I had a comment coming from over. Okay, cool, thank you. Anybody else want to speak? Okay, Meredith, where you at? You want to come, anything? Oh, Michael, anything you want to close with?
Nothing else from staff.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Any final questions? If not, I'll call for a
Motion.
vote.
Move to approve rezoning request MA 22-07, 503 South Main Street.
A second.
Okay, got a motion to approve and a second. Is there any other questions? Comment? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any? Thank you, board. Motion approved. And I would have to say, commend you got your 5 board members here, this board. Both of these cases went to multiple public hearings and multiple changes, and a lot of things was corrected, and a lot of things was added, and it took a lot of work, and I kind of commend you guys for trying to get it right before signing off on it, so appreciate that. And I know, Michelle, I think you're concerned with the line of sight, and I would say we make sure as it's going on, Kelly, that if there's a line of sight problem, then somebody's got to fix that. I mean, you have.
Other than that, I love the development,
yeah.
but I just don't like that.
But I think it could be a line of sight. I think,
Sir,
I think,
it's one more motion.
okay, who made the first one?
I did.
I thought it was just amendment thing on my sheet here,
Was that
but
it?
go ahead.
Is there another?
Move to adopt a plan consistency statement and statement of the reasonableness for MA 22-07.
Okay,
Second.
got a motion second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. Thank you. So I would say we'll follow up on that, probably make sure that works correctly. So with that, appreciate it. Next item is communications from a town attorney. Anything you want to talk to us about?
Thank you, Mayor. At our next meeting, I anticipate the board will ask to go into closed session for an update on pending litigation and claims, and I expect that could take 20 to 30 minutes. So it will be longer than the typical closed session for those who may be watching on television. On the topic of closed sessions, I received a question today about closed session procedures. As a procedural item, any board member may make a motion to go into closed session. It does not have to have already been on the agenda, and it is not limited to having been approved. It's approved just like any motion. So you would make the motion, hopefully there would be a second, and then a vote. If you are thinking about a closed session motion, it can be helpful if it's non-urgent to be sure that the mayor and the manager might have a heads up so that if we're in closed session, there's a good chance that there will be answers there already prepared, or a report or an investigation. Otherwise, we'll end up going into 2 closed sessions, one to set it up and then a second one to get the answers. And then the third, with some good news, is the Wake County Legislative Delegation has reintroduced our electronic notice bill, and that is now pending. That was introduced today, and hopefully that will pass, and Wake County, the smaller Wake County communities will enjoy the benefits of the reduced cost of public notices in a setting that's actually more likely to be seen than in the classified section of the newspaper. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Where did it land last time it came up? Was it a compromise made last time or something?
It never made it to a vote.
Never
The
made-
session ended without receiving a vote, and therefore it did not cross over.
Gotcha. Thank you. Communication from town manager?
Couple items. Glad you're getting a quick meeting tonight because you're into March. We'll be busy. March 21st is your next work session. When you get here, we'll start immediately We'll have, I think, as Michael said, we'll probably start with the mural update. And then we'll have a discussion with the police department assessment is complete now. The consultant working on that will be here with his team to present that to you. You'll get that in the packet next week. And then we'll also have, as Commissioner Sneed talked about, an update on the agreement between the town of Rolesville and Rolesville Rural Fire District. And Greg Grayson, if you remember Greg, will be present also to help us through that and walk through that agreement. Then you have the next week, March 28th at 3 p.m., the budget preview discussion. In the past, we've gone anywhere from 4 hours, thereabouts. Dinner will be provided. It'll be all the department heads coming in and talking to you about budget and such.
What was the date for that again?
March 28th, Tuesday. And then today we found out that we are going to have the East Wake Local Government Association dinner meeting in Zebulon on March 29th at the ballpark at 6 p.m.
At the ballpark.
They have that dinner, that restaurant up there.
Oh, it's like we're playing ball.
There's no game going on.
No game
No,
tonight?
I don't believe it. I think it's probably just at the restaurant.
Okay, I missed that.
I did let you know Friday that we did find out, and now we're in a hurry, that the community project funding from the federal government is out again. So this is the third year of this program. It started 2 years ago, and both years we submitted with Wake County our library site to help start that development. That went through Senator, was it Tillis? I thought certainly, Price, Representative Price's office. And then both times we were not funded. This time, if you remember our legislative breakfast here, we talked about that with Congresswoman Ross. And then I caught her again at the groundbreaking and spent some time talking to her and her staff about that. And then last week they called and said it's going live and it's due March 16th. So a couple of things on this. I want to start with the bad news and then get to the good news. The bad news is they already have said if there is going to be funding of this program, so there's an if still, it'll only be half as much as in the past 2 years. The good news is we got a call from Congresswoman Ross's office. That did not happen to most all the other towns around here. From our folks at TJ Cog who are helping us on a grant, they said, we're about the only one to get the call to tell us to be on the lookout. Now everybody else is catching up, but we got the call. I think that's good news. Yeah, that's good. A couple things with regards to how we want to proceed. I was pursuing moving away from the library site and doing something different. I think we have enough projects ready to go that might be beneficial, might be better, including, I think the best, after talking to this individual in the office, I went through a couple of them, is you have not seen as much or spent much time on it, but we have a bucket of improvements at Main Street Park, Prabsom, that are ready generally to go. If you remember, if we talked about the transition plan or ADA transition plan, a few of those are within that park that need to get accomplished. That's a really good project. Those are good projects. We also have some improvements we need to make in and around that area, like landscaping and such, to make it better. And so the theme is economic development and how we are tying our jewel that we have and creating it and improving it and making it more accessible to part of the Main Street project improvement project, cobblestone, and as we create downtown. This is bringing the park up to today's standards a little bit more and adding elements of improvements. All those things I talked about, if we bundle them together, it's going to be about $250,000 worth of a bucket of goods. I'll get you more information on that. In talking to TJ Cog, our grant group, they say that is a really good project. That's a good tie to essentially a good story of Main Street, what we're doing with Main Street, the vision, and bringing economic development to downtown. So with that being said, I think that's where we're going to approach. That seems to be the best. It seems to be in the sweet spot of money. Everybody's saying don't expect anything more than $500,000 if at all for these type of projects this year. And that's where we were going to go, and that's what I was going to tell you tonight until about 3 o'clock when Wake County called and said, oh, hey, we really want you to joint apply again with us on our library site. Because our lobbyists are telling us Rolesville keeps on popping up
Well, then let's do it.
in discussions, and we think they think that application was good last year. So I said yes to that one too, to go ahead and rekindle that one, and that was about $300,000, $350,000 to go towards site development of our site, if you recall. And then I think we're going to work on this one, and we'll let Wake County bring that through their lobbyists and through their groups, and we'll bring this one through to Congresswoman Ross. We are hurrying very quickly on this. We're putting it together fast. In fact, we had to get our information to TJ Cog by Friday so they can work on it and bundle it together so we can get to the 16th. They can assist us to bundle it together and put it 16th. The county has the same deadline this Friday. And this just kind of happened. I knew it was going to happen, but I didn't know it was going to just happen this fast. So if you're okay, we would like to pursue that. I know it's evolving, but we really don't have a whole lot of time otherwise to go for something this round. So
Do they both have dates? I missed
they
them.
both are the same. All this programs all got the same date.
March
due date,
16th.
March 16th. And that was about 2 weeks before we heard about it. So if you're okay with that, that's where we're going to put our energy, and I'll let you keep you informed as things get done and completed, and I'll send it to you. And I feel the good news is I feel positive that we're going to get some attention, better attention we have in the past. I don't know if we'll get any funding, but I do feel like we're getting more attention than we have in the past. So
I'm good, as long as you can guarantee approval, go for it.
yeah.
No pressure.
Crystal
wait a minute.
ball, or what
So
did
how
Meredith
does this,
have?
how does this fit into what you had sent in that email about the park? Weren't you counting on those funds going towards the park? So how does that work? Because by the way, foundation was not the word foundation as the way it was written. It was a starting point, is what he was saying. But
So I think it's a separate conversation.
Yeah, I'm trailing about 5 o'clock on this conversation. Okay.
Yeah. Unless you can work some more magic with some grants.
I said
That
go
would be
for
enough
it.
money to help out with what you're asking. It would be enough to help with what we're trying to do with that. But yeah, no, we need to talk about that one too. We will.
I say go for it, Kelly.
Okay, that's my update.
I would agree. Move on something that we can almost touch.
Very good.
Thank you.
Do you need a motion for
You want to
that?
let Wake County go for the library, and we'll go for the parking.
Yeah, but we'll still be a joint applicant on the other one because they want to use our name.
Yeah.
So that's fine. It's our land. We have to kind of do that, so. Yeah.
So I'm sorry, what do you mean? They're going for the library, we're going for the park?
Yeah,
Who's
I
we're
think-
going for the park?
The old park.
The Main Street Park.
Upgrading,
Oh, gotcha.
doing some upgrades.
Perfect.
Gotcha.
It'd be nice to add a little train like Pullen Park.
Oh, my
No
gosh.
other town in the county has it.
A what?
A little train like Pullen Park has, have that. Talk about an attraction.
Might derail.
I'm just saying.
But you can get that donated because these, okay, that's different.
Work on that. We're on train, little train.
But donated, though, not paid for by the town.
Anything else from the town manager?
No, my report is complete. Thank you.
I have a question for the town manager. Where are we on Parents Commission? I thought we were going to add that to a work session. Is it possible to add it to March or April?
April.
Okay. Thank you.
So, planning director is working on that, and zoning, industrial zoning, and the other item we talked about with the recreation.
Gotcha.
So those are all coming, and then we'll introduce those to you. You can get them scheduled.
April. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Kelly. Board, any updates, communications you guys would like to do? I think you had said you wanted something.
Yeah, so I have one for you guys are good. Okay. So several months ago, I brought in a presentation about naturally Rolesville, trying to bring in native plants and everything else, work with native plants around Rolesville, and also to work with pollinator gardens and Mayor's Monarch Pledge and everything like that. So Eddie has been working on this diligently. Stops you.
Who's Eddie?
Eddie is our, man, he's got a long title. All right. So what you're getting right now is a map of hopefully Rolesville's first pollinator garden right at Town Hall. So what it is, it's a layout that we went to a vendor, they looked at it, this is what they came up with.
It's actually
Landscape architect. So the one things we'll remove off here, the taller trees that are on there, those would be removed. Those weren't removed before I brought this to you. But this is something, probably kind of like the outdoor garden, like where we want to do the first one. We want to make it look nice. This is the first thing you would bring people and show them. This is what it's like. You could bring kids' classes to this, show them what it should look like. And the plan with this is if everybody's in agreement, I'd like to ask the horticulture club at the high school and a couple other groups to come out and actually help plant the thing. We were possibly planning on Earth Day to kind of make it special for that. It's April 22nd. The total for the plants, I believe the budget was $2,000.
Yeah, it's going to be less than that.
Less than that.
Mulch and dirt.
Yeah. So this would be kind of to kick off the naturally Rolesville look for everything. And we were talking about as well, it might not happen right this second, but maybe possible signage to explain what this is and why it's here and what it's doing. Just trying to put more nature back into Rolesville, basically.
Definitely signage.
Yeah.
And the other thing another kind of cool tie-in is that much of these similar plantings are going to be in the medians of the new Main Street project.
Yep.
So much of what you're going to see here is going to be similar to what we've designed in some of the medians and such over here. So the tie-in should be pretty good, I think, as far as that.
It just looks like it's a bit much. It looks a little overkillish to me. That's
Yeah.
how I'm seeing it. It's just like a lot. That's one. So this is, you're saying in about a year?
This would be April 22nd. We'd have to plant this
Of
year.
next year. Of this year.
Yep.
Okay, so then what
So
happens?
you would remove, that taller one's going to remove there.
That one's not bad.
I know.
That's not, that one, this whole one here is nice.
And these ones are going to get removed too, these taller ones, those are all get out. This would all be low end.
And so Town Hall, I know I'm, again, because, I love the crystal ball theory. If Town Hall is being built, fingers crossed, someplace else, then you're going to have all of this here, so that's going to be extra work for, not Parks and Rec, what's the other one?
Public Works.
Public Works. It just seems like a lot at once.
So when we talked to them about maintenance, they said it's basically probably like a once-a-year maintenance, once it gets all established. That you're going to start with, it's not going to look like this when you plant it. It's obviously going to be a bunch of smaller stuff. And then you come in the spring.
I like it grown. I like seeing.
Oh, I know.
I'm
Yeah.
seeing what it will look like, but
Right.
it just seems like it's just
Yeah.
like a whole lot.
So you would come in and you would clear everything out basically right about this time of the year, and then let it all grow back in as the year progresses. And you'll have different things. Those are shown all at once. You're going to have different stuff come in that blooms at different times of the year and everything else too. That's how they picked out the different plants.
I think in theory,
be there all the time.
Yeah.
in theory, I think that's nice, but knowing that we're moving, couldn't one of these be, can't you set one of these up in like Main Street Park somewhere?
So that's the second. Don't go too far. That's
Oh, I don't know, I just think
Yeah.
it's a whole
No.
lot. And then
Yeah.
part of the reason why I'm going to be honest, so just know I'm very biased based on what I'm going to say. To me, this draws snakes, but that's just me.
Yeah.
So, but it does seem like a lot.
Yeah.
At once, maybe a little bit at a time to see how it works and see where we are in terms of the new town hall.
Well, I think we have a minute before we move. So why put it off and not
Because all of that at once, I think is too much.
But he said it blooms at different times of the year. So anyway, I like the way how you're making it a community project, bringing in the high schoolers to help. I like that.
I just like this part over here, like we pointed out.
I'm just worried about bees.
So we had a
We
discussion.
can bring other stuff.
We had a
but the
discussion as
bees-
well. So I think that's going to be more of an education thing.
I'm going to see you running back and forth trying to dodge a bee. I'm going to be dodging the snake.
I just
but
know that
get
some
it.
people are definitely allergic to
Right.
bees, so I don't take that like, I'm not. It hurts,
Right,
but
right.
I'm not definitely allergic. But I just am thinking about that with our public coming into this space.
In the hay fever. But it's pretty though, and I
Right.
understand the purpose, but all these other,
So it was,
Negatives
so we did
to me.
talk to the designer about bees and everything else. That was a concern that was raised as well, but their thought process was, you're not going to be in this stuff. You're not going to, as long as you're not walking through this stuff, messing with it, stepping on bees, they usually leave you alone. I have stuff like this kind of in my backyard. Same thing, like I can walk right through it and nothing messes with me. I could say it now, I'll get stung tomorrow, but I'm just saying, they're there for a reason. The bees are there for a reason. They're not going to mess with you. They're the type, you're not going to get hornets and stuff like that through here. You're going to get stuff that's going to get pollinators stuff.
Well, Google tells me that it attracts butterflies, ants, flies, beetles, which I'm fine with, bumblebees, honeybees, solitary bees, and wasps. So I'm just
Sure.
saying,
Yeah,
some
no,
people are
that's-
definitely
yeah.
allergic, and if we're putting this in a public space, we need to be cognizant of that, and maybe not put stuff so close that attracts bees.
to every, we have it at every entrance.
Mm-hmm.
That's just too much for me. But
Well, and it-
again, the Rolesville Town Hall, where the town hall sign is at, and what you have there, I think that's great.
So the ones I will point out, the ones where the building is kind of like that stucco, the stuff that sits along that wall, the doors there is all grasses. Those aren't flowers. That's a decorative grass on either side of that. It keeps it away from, keeps all the flowers away from that entrance. And they'll do the same thing up here. I don't know if it's shown as well, but those are more grasses than they are. They do grass at the doors to keep stuff at bay
That's snakes.
off of you. Yeah, like snakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd like to get some input on it because I'd like to get it kicked off if we are looking to do it, because I would need to let them know soon.
I'm not in
Interested.
favor for it myself. But I told you why though.
Right,
But I
that's
think the concept and the idea is nice, and I think
Right.
the new town hall would hopefully be built different,
Mm-hmm.
and this stuff will work. But to me, this is gonna look like a big desert to me. If you were only doing right here to start off with, as we gauge our progress with other things, that's
Mm-hmm.
one thing. But all of this down here is just a lot.
Right.
But I understand it.
Yeah,
if that makes
that's fine, that's fine.
Sir, I recommend reaching out to the garden club. There can be some great assistance.
They've indicated they're willing to come that day and help
Yeah.
participate too.
Good.
I just have the bee concern. I think that could be a liability. Somebody walk up here, get stung by a bee based on our pollinator garden, and, yeah.
Even right now, the trees on the side of the building, you remember they were like, I mean, they do grow, obviously, but is that going to be cut, or is that going to just be one big mass of trees on the side?
Probably needs some trim.
Okay.
Anything you need, Paul?
I kind of need to know if we're going to do it or not. That's
Yeah.
basically it. We can source the plants, we can, I think think it'd be a problem to get volunteers to put it in. It's just a matter of if we're ready to go on it or not, that's all.
Trying to figure out why Rolesville High School stopped doing theirs. Did they
I'd say
start back
start
again?
small. I'm not opposed to it. The bees, I already expressed that concern, but maybe start smaller, because it does seem like a lot
Where the-
once it grows out.
Where the Rolesville Town Hall sign is, maybe over just in that section to start.
You said some of it's already been removed, right? Some of the things you're showing there is not.
Yeah, the taller tree, so there's a bush that sits right in front of these windows right here. That's going to be removed. And then these taller trees back here,
Yeah.
those will all be removed.
And I'm sure the girls, are there any guys in the front? No, right? They may appreciate those trees in front of those windows, but not that you can see in, you can
Right.
just see out. So I don't think it matters. So
Yeah,
I say no, but I will say yes to the Rolesville Town Hall side only.
Yep,
to
I'm kind
start.
of hearing just start smaller, a little bit smaller. I don't know how.
Maybe three, one there, and one in the middle.
Throw some mothballs down there to keep the snakes at bay.
No gardenia.
Those smell really nice.
Oh, yeah, bees
good?
with those.
Oh, that's why.
You think we can make something of that?
You want me to try and repeat?
Yeah, because we're going to have to relay to Eddie as well.
So I hear support for maybe a little less dense.
A lot less dense.
I'll let Paul interpret how much. In front of the, as you face this picture, I'm going to go there, right-hand side of Town Hall. That's generally supportive. It's a smaller strip, too. It's a much smaller strip. And then one or two of these sections otherwise?
Yeah, I was going to say, so if we're starting from right to left, let's go from right to left. So right, I think, is okay. That's not really near anything. You can get to the doors and you're still way away from that stuff.
Close to the flagpole, you're saying?
Yeah, like on that side. So that one, and then get rid of the next group because that's close to the entrance.
Right.
And then maybe do something between the buildings right there, between the stucco building and the brick building, but not really get to the doors. Just leave it more narrow right there.
So basically, to the right of each entryway.
Yeah.
Right here,
So
and
take
right
away-
there.
So something kind of right here, something kind of right there, and something kind of down here.
On the end.
Like one on each end and one in the middle. Kind of like
Away
spread it
from
out
the entrances.
and keep them away from the entrance. I mean, that's
And
fine.
we're not doing the big trees.
Yeah, we're not doing the big trees. No, we're getting rid of those too.
So so there would be a buffer of mulch
Right.
next to the doors.
Yep.
To leave some area. And then that would remove some of the density.
Right.
And then you know where the space is.
Right, yeah,
You-
we'll do
you-
kind of a central and sides, and that keeps it away from most of all the doors, so that's, yeah.
So I'm going to underline what you're talking about. So when I come and see trees all up and down here,
I want to see it too.
So something like from here to here,
okay,
this one, and maybe this one.
okay.
Nothing else between.
So can you see that? This one here, that one there, and where those two tall trees are?
Like right in the middle there, kind of, just something in between those kind of, but not really, they won't really go to either door.
Can y'all see the line that he drew? The very light line? So it's here, here, and there. And this is going to be smaller, right?
Yeah, it'll be small.
Did you see that when I had it
Yeah,
turned?
yeah.
Okay.
You're good. Dan's already drawn, too. He's
Yeah,
already got
I
it.
can picture in my head what you're saying.
And Dan has a pollinator garden in his yard.
Okay, good.
Will this attract hummingbirds too? Mine does.
It should with what they've
Yes, it
got,
will.
yeah, yeah.
Should.
And they did a really good job with this. They really laid this out. They know what they're doing with the plants and everything else, and they'll give us all the information about all the plants we're actually providing too. So if we want to do more education, we can do that as well with what we're doing.
Are you looking for a motion? Oh, is it? No?
1-year warranty as well.
Okay, never mind.
So wait a second, I have a question for you.
Yep.
Who is this person, Eddie? Is he on the Parks and Rec?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
so it's not costing us money or it is?
It'll cost us, well, it'll
For
be.
materials, I know.
For materials, less than 2,000, but other than that, that's it. And it'll be all volunteers putting it in, so,
So it's definitely less than 2,000.
Yep.
And you're
Right.
opening this up to the public to be a
Yeah,
part
yep.
if they want?
yep.
Find out from Rolesville High School, because I know they had stopped doing theirs for a while. But they may have started back.
Yeah.
It's been gone
Yeah.
for 5 years, so I don't know.
We'll figure it out, yep.
If you're good, I don't think we need motion.
Okay,
No, I think we're good.
all right.
You got direction.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Any other commissioners got anything?
Oh, I was going to say, good job, board. We got a road.
Yeah, we did.
Hello, wake up.
$1.5 million, what he tells us.
So that shows you, you push back a little bit or ask for things, sometimes you get them. But I think if you don't ask, you definitely don't get them. So I was shocked that they came back and said, I thought it was a stub out. And they said, we'll build, what'd you do, Dave? Thank you, Dave. I'll just leave it there. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah.
Was that from that
Kelly?
quick conversation you tried to have with them and didn't work at that moment? Then it worked later, or no?
I heard they
Just thank you.
offered it up.
Thank you. Thank you.
A lot of folks and the developer worked really hard over the past 2 weeks to work something out.
So, but do a question. How much credit was he asking for? Because I
That
noticed he
is
said that.
really awesome.
No, he did say credit,
We needed that connection.
and I didn't hear a number.
Impact fees.
Impact fee.
Sure, it's a credit
But I
against
know
the
it's
fees that they would otherwise pay that would then be in our transportation budget, which we would then spend to build the road. So it's
So it's the same.
It's a wash.
It's the same difference, except
Right.
it may
It's a
cost
wash,
more
except they
than-
have the overage.
Right, they have the
We
overage.
can't pay more than what their homes end up paying. So,
Right.
But
that's
you
right.
knew he said 500 anyway, that was a very lowball number.
Sounded like it was.
Well, they
Anyway,
didn't have to do it at all.
they wanted to get it done.
Very
Anyway,
good.
I think that's great.
Good point.
Fantastic.
Anybody else got anything? I will, if not, I will end by,
I do have something real quick, 30
Okay,
seconds.
go ahead.
I really don't like being cut off when I'm speaking. I understand we're trying to move on and get to the next thing, but my concern was legit, and I was trying to express that. So I would just say, be courteous of people when they're speaking, and not, I don't want to go through this and make a motion. Because I sit here and I do try not to be explosive, but in my state of mind, something like that is not a good thing to hear from this board, because we do all respect each other. We respect the time, and yes, we all want to get out of here early, but that is really important to know. And I don't know that they really took that into consideration. That might have been 45 seconds.
okay. All right.
Do we have a closed session?
Huh?
Do we have a closed session?
No.
No, I don't think so. I will end by giving a plug for the show coming up Thursday night. Have two guests on there. Bill Harrell, y'all may remember Bill Harrell. He was the land development partner for Hoppers that's doing the Mitchell Mill Jonesville thing. And that's really the first mixed use under our LDO. So that's the first one we'll be talking about how, the new mixed use is being developed and what's some of the things on that. So it'd be interesting to watch because that's new to us. And then segment 2 is Mulaney Krypton, which is director of the Senior Network. She does they've been in business, I guess, doing their work for about 18 months. They've come a long ways. They got a lot of stuff that they do by helping seniors and even providing transportation. So that's going to be an interesting thing. So if y'all can watch.
They're amazing, aren't they? Like, okay, if I'm wrong, I do apologize. Aren't they like close to their 80s themselves?
Yeah, it's three
And
sisters.
They get around, they can't, because they signed up at Arise as well.
Yep.
And they do amazing things, and I'm like, what can I do to help you? Because they do things that would have benefited my mom.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of other seniors who could have benefited from that, and they're not for profit, so they don't really. She said, we some of this we pay out of our pockets. And I'm like, really? They remind me of the Golden Girls when they
Yeah,
came in.
They do. They have two big fundraisers
nice.
per year. One's coming up, and we'll talk about it on the show, but one's coming up soon is a talent show over in Wake Forest. Because they work Rolesville and Wake Forest, so it's pretty large. So,
And I'm
But-
working with them on a third one.
yeah.
I think will be very helpful.
But do appreciate it. Good job, team. Thanks for your hard work. Thank you, staff. I think everything was well presented tonight, so appreciate that. Any closing comments?
Field trips.
Yeah. If there's a motion for adjournment, I will accept it.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, board. Appreciate it.